class, welcome back to my Burning Questions video series. Today's question asks, can a predicate come before a subject? Yes, it can. So before I tell you why and how, let's do some review over what we already know about sentences. A sentence has two parts, a subject, so who or what the sentence is about, and a predicate, what the subject is, if it's a linking verb, or what it does, if it's an action verb. So in the short sentence, the dog bit the boy, we have to first find the predicate, which is bit, that's our action, and then we can ask ourselves, okay, who or what is biting? And that would be the dog, our subject. Now remember, in class we talked about how important it is to start with your predicate, because if you started with your subject, you may get confused and think that boy is the subject. And the boy is not biting, the dog is. That's very important in the next slide when I talk to you about when the subject can come after the predicate. I do like to point out that in class, most of the sentences we look at have the subject before the predicate. And that's because generally, that's the way we want to write. It's much more clear and it's easier to understand. However, there is a time and a place, for what we call passive voice. Passive voice is when our subject is acted upon. He or she is receiving the action expressed by the verb and therefore is after the predicate. So I changed our original sentence up just a bit. I said the boy was bitten by the dog. So again, we have to first find our predicate. In this case, it's a verb phrase. We have the helping verb was in front of our action verb bitten. It's kind of tricky, but that is still our predicate because it's the only action in the sentence. And then we have to ask ourselves again, okay, who or what is biting? Because biting is still what's happening. The dog is still biting, even though it sounds kind of funny if you say the dog was bitten. The boy was bitten by the dog. The dog is the one completing the action. I know I'm rambling a bit here. It's because it's kind of complicated and tricky to think about passive voice. That's why we don't use it in our writing very often. It's very unclear, it can make our reader confused, and it makes our writing seem jumbled. However, technically, this is grammatically correct. Again, there is a time and a place for it. So yes, your subject can come after your predicate. Now, there is one other thing I wanted to talk about. It's called a command. In a command, the subject is implied. So it's not after the predicate, but it's also not before the predicate. And I thought that was kind of important to mention here. So I changed our sentence a little bit more and I said, stop biting the boy. Now, stop would be my action here, or even stop biting. That might kind of be a predicate. I didn't actually have a subject. You don't know who the subject is. However, based on the knowledge we have from our other two sentences, you guys can assume that I'm probably talking to my dog or a dog. So the subject, dog, is implied or assumed. So hopefully that answers your question about subjects and predicates. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.